Hey guys, Stephen Exclusive Wraps here. Today we're going to teach you how to install the, I have to check this, I've got the car right here, we're going to check. Hyundai Sonata N-Line DN8 full flow designs kit. First thing that I suggest you do, because this is what I would do, is lay out everything that comes together in your kit. So as you can see here, we've got the full front splitter, we've got the extensions and the winglets as well. I've opened up all the nuts and bolts and washers and laid them out according to how the instructions tell you to do so. This way everything's accounted for, you know where it's meant to go. Rightio guys, the things you're going to need to install the front splitter are a drill and 8mm drill bit, some clamps to hold it in place. You're going to need your 4mm Allen key or Torx bits and a screwdriver or something to hold it, a flathead screwdriver or a clip removal tool for taking out some clips, some 10mm either ratchet spanners, well definitely ratchet spanners are ideal, or a drill as well, and a small Phillips head screwdriver or a ratcheting headed, I don't even know what you call that, ratchet tool with a Phillips bit in it. Alrighty, next step is we're going to remove the under tray. So you're going to get a flathead screwdriver or trim tool and remove all the clips, and there's a couple of 10mm bolts as well.
Take a good one down.
With the under tray removed, now we want to take out the two clips in the wheel arch on either side. Next, we're going to take the 6 3D spacers and install them into their mounting points. Now that we've got the spacers in place, we can clamp it to the bar and then align it up for drilling. Right here is where you want to align your splitter. With the splitter correctly mounted in place, now we're going to take an 8mm drill bit and drill out all the holes. Next, look into the underside of the bumper. On either side, you're going to see a screw located here near the wheel arch. We're going to need to remove that one with a Phillips head. Now we're going to install all of the nuts and bolts, starting with the ones along the front, and then we're going to use the bracket on the inside. Just install them finger tight, don't go tightening them up too much just yet, so that we have a little bit of play if necessary to get them to slot into the holes. All right. Once all of the front bolts, nuts and bolts are in, you're going to take your bracket and it's going to go here. This should align with the 2 bolts that come up from there. With all the nuts and bolts in, we just need to remove this clip here in the wheel arch behind the guard liner and install the small, I think it's a 10 or 20mm nut and bolt. With all the nuts and bolts in place, you can now go around and tighten them all up. Don't forget to reinstall the screw into the bracket. Alrighty, with the lip securely fastened, we can go ahead and put the 2 clips back in the wheel arch here, and then reinstall the under tray, and we're done. Huh? Lastly, we're going to install some extensions and winglets on the front splitter here. Now, you might have both, you might have one or the other, and you can install them either way around. You don't have to have them all. If you're doing the extensions, obviously they need to go on before the winglet does, and you're going to need to utilize this Chicago bolt here, which is going to go in place of this hole from the top. So we'll give you a quick look at that. When installing extensions, I like to start from the middle. It kind of frees up your hands to do other things. If you're installing both extensions and winglets, the smaller bolts are going to be used in the first 3 holes, and then you're going to use the longer ones to go through both the extension and the winglet on the remaining 2 at the back here near the wheel arch. One thing to keep in mind, guys, when you're installing these, do not over tighten these bolts into the gold threads. If you do, you might pull the gold thread out, and obviously your winglet or extension is not going to be held on. Now, before you go tightening up all of the bolts here, now's your opportunity to adjust how far in or out you want this system to sit. Extension, you can put that in and pop the winglet out. Entirely up to you how you customize it from here. Righto guys, next we're going to install the rear spats and rear winglets onto the Sonata N-Line. Things you're going to need are your drill and 8mm drill bit, 4mm Allen key or Torx bit, 10mm ratcheting spanner or something similar, and a pen or pencil. First thing we're going to do, take your spat and hold it up, and you'll notice that it should align nicely with the mudguard here, and then the back edge of the rear bumper, like so. It should also align with the front edge of the bumper right here. Once you've got the rear spat aligned with the bumper, take your pencil and mark your holes. Alternatively, if you want to, you can clamp the spat to the bumper underneath and just drill the hole straight through. If you're installing your spat with the winglets, that's going to incorporate the first 3 holes, so make sure that you put your nuts and bolts on at the same time. Or, sorry, make sure you put your winglet on with the nuts and bolts at the same time. Small side note, when you're installing the front bolt closest to the wheel, you want to leave the bolt so that it's not protruding all the way, like so, and slide your washer underneath this piece of plastic trim here. Put it over the top of the bolt and slide it through. Otherwise you're going to find that it wants to sit on this little ledge there. Once all your nuts and bolts are in, tighten up your front one and your back one to get the spat to sit in place, and then you can adjust how far out you want your spat to sit and tighten up the rest of the bolts. Alright guys, now we're going to install the rear flow lock diffuser. Alright, things you're going to need to install the rear diffuser are your drill and 8mm drill bit, flathead screwdriver, 4mm Allen key or similar, 10mm ratchet spanner or similar, and a couple of clamps. One of the first things you want to do is grab yourself a flathead screwdriver. And if you pull down on the rear bumper here, you're going to notice that there are a few little clips holding it in place. If you remove these, it's going to make life a lot easier getting your arm in there to tighten up the bolts. Next up, we're going to fit the diffuser fins. Pay close attention to the labels. They're all labeled according to location. So you've got L4, 3, 2 and 1, and then R1, 2, 3 and 4. Make sure you put them in the right spot because it can be difficult to remove them and swap them around later on. Now we're going to clamp the diffuser in place. Now the instructions will tell you to fit the fins after you have drilled your holes and mounted the diffuser. I've done it this way because I find that it's easier to get a nice flush fit, as you can see, with the fins to the bumper by clamping it and holding it in place and then drilling my holes. Now just take your Allen key and your ratchet spanner, nuts and bolts, and bolt it all in place. Now that we've got the diffuser in place, take the 2 clips that we took out, put them back in, and you're done. Next up guys, we're going to install the spoiler. First step guys, we're going to take the alcohol swab that is provided, or you can use your own IPA if you have some, and clean this bottom face of the existing spoiler. Next, take your stick of adhesion promoter, squeeze this little dot here, you should hear a pop, and now you'll be able to use the swab on the end to add a little bit of that adhesive promoter. You're going to want to apply some of the primer to this section of your spoiler. Now go ahead and apply 2 lots of double-sided tape, 1 strip running all the way along the top, and then another 2 shorter ones at the bottom. All right, once your tape is applied, get the tape started in a few areas so that you can gently tack it in place without having full adhesion take hold. Then you'll be able to pull through the backing of the tape once it's on the body of the car. Also, we're going to go ahead and remove this bit of, covering on the acrylic, showing that beautiful shiny black surface. I'm going to leave the one on the back for now so that we can fit this without leaving marks and fingerprints all over it, and then we can take it off at the end. Simply line up your spoiler with the tail light. Next up, guys, we're going to install the side splitters. So to install side skirts, what you're going to need is your drill and 8mm drill bit, an 11mm drill bit, a pen or pencil, and your jacknut tool or the supplied one that comes with your kit. All right, so when installing the side splitters, you're going to want to keep the Flow sticker logo and the cutout bit there at the back of the vehicle. And you're going to look for these cutouts here. There's one at the front and one at the back that's going to align with these cutouts under the car. The next bit's easier if you've got two people. If you've only got one, you can use some boxes or something to help hold the side skirt in place. But basically what we're going to do is take the splitter, align it with those notches that are cut out, and mark the holes with a pencil for drilling. With all your holes marked, take your drill and your 8mm drill bit, pre-drill them with this one, and then follow it up with the 11mm so that's the right size for our jack nuts to go in. Once you've drilled all your holes, take your jack nut tool and put in your jack nuts. There you go. With the jack nuts in place, we can take our 4mm Allen key and put all the bolts in. With the splitter in place, the last thing to do is put on the winglets if you option them. Simple enough, 3 very short bolts and your 4mm Allen key. Remember, don't over tighten the bolts that go into the gold threads or they may pull through. You can also adjust how far in or out these winglets sit.